Hey Bucs fans, this is Paul Atwal from Pewter Report back with another All-22 breakdown. And to get ready for this big Sunday night game against the Saints, I want to go back to the previous matchup and take a look at what happened. When I think about that game, the penalties are what stick out to me, especially just the clear-cut self-inflicted ones. I know some of them were unfavorable whistles, but those aside, I think if the Bucs didn't do some of the more obvious mistakes, they win that game pretty handily in my opinion. So I think game plan wise as well, there were a lot of good things in what they did and how they countered what the Saints like to do. And today I'm going to focus specifically on the pass game. John Ledger has done some great run game breakdowns, certainly a lot better than I could do. And more importantly, I think I just enjoy breaking down the pass game a little more. So yeah, let's get into it. One thing the Saints like to do a lot is play man coverage. They play variations of cover one, where it's one man, one hole, robber, one cross, whatever, and two man under. So just man coverage and two deep safeties. And that's exactly what we're going to get on this 3rd and 6 here on the second drive of the game. See Brady motioning in Geo, motioning Gronk, setting the protections. And Godwin just runs this beautiful route. I'm going to back it up in just a moment here. Take a look at this hesitation move right there and just gets wide open. And this is when the Saints are playing this coverage. I'm just going to pause it right here. So you can see it's just man everywhere here, and you have the two deep safeties. There's no help over the middle. So to counter this coverage, the Bucs did go to they did attack the middle of the field quite a bit, and they can get these one-on-one matchups. And I think Godwin is going to most frequently be their biggest mismatch there with all the agility and quick moves that he can make, like he did right here on kind of this jerk route. Just an easy gain over the middle. So here we are later on that same drive in the red zone, 3rd and 7. And again, the Saints are playing that same two-man coverage. So man all across the board underneath, two safeties over top. So Bucs go right back to it. It's a now route to Godwin. Slightly different concept, but very similar idea. Again, no help over the middle, right? If you're playing cover one, you're going to have a single high safety here, and assuming you're not sending 5 pass rushers, you're going to have either a safety or a linebacker playing over the middle of the field right here, and that would take away this route. But when you have those two safeties deep, there's no support there, and it's just too easy for Godwin to beat his man straight across the middle, connected for a touchdown. Take a look at the end zone angle here. And just with the way that play is designed, Brady's able to read it out fully left to right as a pure read. So here we are on the 3rd possession for the Bucs offense on 3rd and 3. And this is something that teams have been doing quite a bit against the Bucs lately. Well, kind of all season. And what the Saints are going to do here is only send 3 rushers on 3rd down. I'll pause it right here. Let's pause right here. So they have a single high safety, and because they're only rushing 3, they actually have 2 players underneath, 2 buzz defenders right here and right here, and they're really congesting everything over the middle. So the Bucs up top, they have a 3-man concept, again, 1-by-3 formation with the tight end isolated down to the bottom. Probably not your best matchup overall, though Brady gets a decent release on this one. And what you're going to see here is Brady starts his read that way, sidesteps, and then fires over the middle. And this looked like a pretty routine throw when I first watched it. And then when I took a look at the end zone angle, sorry for the bit of a lag there. I actually think Brady knows he has a good idea of what he's doing the whole way. He's just moving over there, I think, to move 27. Look at this. 27's buzzing. If Brady's looking at Johnson the whole way, there's a good chance he just takes this away right here. Brady starts his read left, sidesteps, moves 27 over with that pump, and then comes right back over to Tyler Johnson, who really this isn't great separation, but he just creates just enough of a window and fires it in there for a huge 3rd and 3 conversion. Next play here, 1st and 10 around midfield. It's an area where the Bucs love to take shots. Again, the Saints are showing man. They're showing single high off of play action. Deep shot, just not able to connect. I think there's some contact there with the DB as well. Don't get the whistle, but It's not too bad. But anyway, this is I call this deep mesh with these two crossers here. I mean, normal mesh is usually in that 4 to 6 yard range. The Bucs run variations of this play quite a bit. They used it a handful of times last season. At times, they would pair deep mesh with regular mesh out of empty, and so they would have two like mesh at two different depths. But this time they have it with the go ball. And take a look at Brady's eyes. He snaps over to the free safety the whole time. He's trying to sell this crosser. And as soon as the free safety opens his hips towards that direction, Brady steps up and fires it over to Evans. This is a really deep throw, by the way. I mean, he's throwing this from his own 50. He lands at the 2, and he's at the opposite hash, which is what, like 90 feet? So you got 90 feet this way, close to 50 yards this way. So if someone wants to break out, Pythagorean theorem here and calculate that hypotenuse. Is a pretty long throw. And it's pretty accurate too. It almost connected. And this is why it's so hard to play the Bucs single highs, because they have all these downfield threats. It's too bad that they're not going to have AB, because especially in a game like this, he'd be so helpful. And it makes it really hard for teams to play that single high. But we've also seen the issue with playing too high, right? Especially man, you're going to give those one-on-one matchups over the inside to agile guys like Godwin. So it's a bit damned if you do, damned if you don't. All right, I'm going to break order here just for a moment and skip ahead, partly because this play relates to the last one, but also mostly because I don't want to end the video on this play. So this is late in the game when the Bucs are trying to tie the game down a touchdown. And they actually come back to the exact same play that we just saw on the previous clip. But they have instead Tyler Johnson on the outside, and this time it's Evans and Godwin on the crossers. You got two man again. And yeah, just a bad decision by Brady. He thinks he can fit this in there, but there's just no way with that safety right in position. The throw here, of course, and he said it after the game, is to Evans. And even to Evans, he has to be careful. This DB is pretty ready to break on the ball. You see how quickly he gets over there, even across the field anyway. But especially if he can't throw this as like a bullet to Evans. It has to be lofted out over here. But yeah, they did come back to the same concept again. I just wanted to point it out. Okay, back to kind of being in order. I think this is on the 4th Buccaneers offensive possession. Huge 3rd and 11. And again, the Saints are in man here. They're playing this off coverage down at the bottom. And just a perfect strike to take advantage with that deep comeback. This is a variation of their of 989 that they run so much, or go as they call it. Sorry, I've written about that play. You can find it on pewterreport.com, and it's part of my laptop bugging out on me a little bit here. But I just want to talk about that. This is perfect timing and just a perfect throw, opposite hash. This is a deep timing throw again, and the corners have to play this off, because the way 989 works, that they run so often, they do it in so many different formations and off play action, off dropbacks, is you just have straight go routes on the outside. And then Godwin here, he has, they call it a delta route. A lot of people know it as middle read. So basically against two high safeties, he's going to run a post, try to split the safeties. Against single high, as it is here, he's going to basically run a crosser. So he's trying to get across the safety space. But this time here with this exact rotation, this safety, he's actually coming down from a too high look to specifically take away crossing routes. So it's not really there. But Brady able to get to that outside route to Johnson perfectly. And here you see Marpet. I think he's making a 5-0 call here, pass protection-wise, just meaning the 5 offensive linemen would have the 5 down defensive linemen. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong here, and then, of course, the guy that Marpet would be responsible for drops into coverage. Jensen and Kappa do a great job of identifying this guy coming around, so passing that off, Jensen picking that up, and Marpet finding work, right? Obviously, his guys dropped off into coverage, so Marpet's keeping his head around, looking for someone else to block. Does a great job, because this is not a quick concept, of course, so pass protection holds up, and this unit is as good as it gets. So this is on the next possession. The previous one ended with that sack fumble Pretty unlucky. So again, Saints are in man single high. This time they actually send 5 pass rushers, so they don't have support over the middle. But the Bucs have a nice concept that attacks the outside here with Godwin. At least that's the idea. Then he gets picked off, and the reason is both these guys are getting held. Tyler Johnson and Godwin pick it. I mean, the Bucs don't get a flag here, but I mean, egregious on Godwin, but on Johnson too. And the idea here is conceptually, Tyler Johnson's got a post and Godwin's got this out route, and if this hold screws up the timing, but what's supposed to happen is Tyler Johnson is supposed to be running this post, basically clearing up this space for Godwin to run into. But because of the hold, it slows down the timing. Tyler Johnson is further behind where he should be, so there's actually not any space to run into for him. And this DB just sees the throw, right? But from Brady's end, he can't really, like this is a timing throw. Like look at where he's throwing this. This is before Godwin has even cut, and that's kind of how you have to throw this. And I don't think he's expecting a man coverage corner to just sit down out of nowhere, but it's only possible because of the penalty that's not called. But yeah, those type of things you can't control really. So I think they're pretty irrelevant as far as analysis goes. I'm pointing out this play because I think they had a decent concept to attack this coverage, but the actual result I think is, you get some favorable whistles, some unfavorable ones. I think the Bucs made plenty of mistakes on just their own to lose this game, and had they cleaned those up, they would have won. So even with this stuff. First and 10 on their own 43. Again, the Saints are in single high man coverage, sending 5. Fournette stays into pass protect, and his defender ends up green dogging, which basically means the player who would be covering him in man coverage sees Fournette stay in pass protection, so then he just comes in on a blitz as well. So they're sending 6 effectively, and then the Bucs have 4 out on a route. And like I talked about in the last one, when you're sending that blitz, you don't have that whole player over the middle. So the middle of the field is open in the short intermediate. Brady recognizes that, immediately goes to this quick slant to Godwin. He could have actually attacked this fade route to Evans up down here isolated. I talked about how the Bucs use fades a lot against single high in my last video. You can go check that out. It's on the Pewter Report page as well. But Brady turns down that look and takes the easy one, which is perfectly fine process-wise. I mean, this is going to be the easy high percentage completion, and Godwin happens to tear it off for even a bigger gain. But process-wise, this is perfectly good, and identifying that blitz, identifying that middle field is open right there. And again, we can take a look at the pass protection because they're just so solid. Even though that there is a blitz, they handle the pressure very well. Brady gets it out quick, obviously, but they're doing their job perfectly well. And nice block by Evans down the field too. So this is how the Bucs finish the drive off on 3rd and 5 near the red zone. You got the 2 tight ends up top and motion Giovanni Bernard out there as well. It's actually zone coverage, but this pick play works really well. And it's nice that they have the 2 tight ends there, right? Because in theory, they should be the more advantageous blockers. And the key with them is they can't make contact until the ball is out. So the timing on this play has to be executed well, practiced well. You'll see this at times where, I think it happened in the last Rams game. I don't remember who they were playing. But basically the receiver who's helping set the pick made contact before the ball was actually out, and they got called for offensive pass interference, which of course is the right call. Here, executed very well. Gio actually bobbles it. It's a bit scary. Fournette did something similar, and it went for an incompletion earlier, but Bernard able to pull through. So this will be the last play that we look at. 3rd and 3. The Saints, again, showing man. And this is just a ridiculous throw. I'm going to back this up. And Evans completes the catch through contact. But Brady's actually reading this whole 3-man concept out up top. Pumps, doesn't like it. Comes back late to this throw to Evans. And this is a really hard throw to make late. I mean, typically, I believe the way they would normally want to do this, if say he knew he was going there the whole time, is he'd be letting it go right about here. and then he could basically as Evans is making his cut. But the fact that he has the strength to come back to it late is just kind of insane. Uh, and again, so the Saints again on 3rd and 3, only rushing 3. They start out with this too high look. The safety at the bottom of the screen comes down, trying to take away any crossers. There actually isn't any crossing route here, but that's basically what he's trying to do, is that weak side rotation. Up top, this safety is helping anything over top, and then you also, because you're only rushing 3, you have an underneath defender here as well. But Evans just able to beat his man with this pylon route. I believe that's what the Bucs call this. And just a perfect throw, perfect catch. So hard to defend. And yeah, I mean, I think the Bucs can expect more man coverage from the Saints. That's what they've been doing since, they do that a lot against anyone. But even in Week 1 last year, to open the 2020 season, lots of man coverage and single high. They actually got burned, and the Bucs were able to make some plays down the field. Not all of them showed up in the box score. There were some PIs to Scotty, some big plays, and again, I think that's why it would be huge to have AB for a matchup like this. But the Saints are really well coached. They play so well on defense. They have so much talent. They're one of the few teams that actually stands a chance when they match up one-on-one that way. Of course, Evans made that big play, but overall, they actually make it really challenging. So the keys are going to be for the Bucs when the Saints play single high man, they have to be able to win those deep one-on-one matchups. And when they're in those two-man type coverages, you got to be able to isolate Godwin underneath and let him go to work on those juke routes, those whip, jerk routes, that sort of thing. And I think if the Bucs can do those things, they have a great shot in this matchup. I think Byron Leftwich, Bruce Arians, Tom Brady, they know what to expect and they have the answers. They did last time as well, but it's just about cleaning up the mistakes a little bit just to get over the edge. And I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. This is Paul Atwal from Pewter Report. You can find me on Twitter at AtwalNFL, and I'll catch you guys next time.